Over the past couple of months, we have witnessed Bob Iger taking over the role of Disney CEO after Bob Chapek was fired not so long ago by the Disney board members and really kind of seeking new leadership over at that company. And exactly what Bob Iger has been doing is that he's been carrying a lot of Chapek's original plans and sticking to that in order to let John and Dave do whatever they have to do to balance things within the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to exactly what is going on with Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy. Now, we know that they have fleshed out plans to get rid of her by this August, after the Dial of Destiny is well into and getting out of theaters eventually, to kind of see exactly what happens with that movie throughout the summer. Now, the thing about this is that we know that Bob Iger is providing Kathleen Kennedy this severance deal that's going to be worth estimated $20 to $30 million. Can you believe that? I mean, that's just insanity. But looking at everything here related to Bob Iger, he has been more direct and hinting more things about his ambitions about the future of this franchise and where it's really going to the fans, to the community at large. And what that really, means is that basically, in my opinion, Bob Iger is in damage control mode. He's really kind of trying to fix his image as the creator of, all things Star Wars. That's how he sees himself at this point. He's the guy that allows everything to happen. Now, with that being said and all right, Bob Iger had a couple of very interesting things to say just recently about Kathleen Kennedy, teasing the fact that he is ready to fire her and replace her with somebody new over at Lucasfilm. So let's tap right into this. Now, first things first, with both John and Dave now developing multiple Star Wars shows at the same exact time, Bob Iger is making significant adjustments behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. However, in a recent interview that Bob Iger took part in, he went on to tease about firing Kathleen Kennedy and gaining new Lucasfilm leadership using somebody else. Now, he stated the following to the community: "Let me just say it has been quite a ride these past number of years. I see all the fans and I can only think about our ups and downs, our gains and failures. And lately we feel and admire that we need to do better, and in order to do better, we need leadership at Lucasfilm. New leadership that is more responsible to our audience and to our customers watching the content that we serve. Every week we meet up with the board and are figuring out our strategies on gaining new leadership at this company to provide an ensured successful future for this brand that has been around for over 40 years. So let me stop right here what Bob Iger is saying. There's no doubt about it that this is obviously a direct stab at Kathleen Kennedy. We know that they are having a very big tug-of-war situation right now. Kathleen Kennedy, by the way, with Skeleton Crew, has been doing a lot of unauthorized actions on the set of that show without letting the Disney board or even Bob Iger at that know about. A lot of which had to do with authorizing the deleting of scenes as well as initiating more reshoots, and the same went as follows for the Acolyte. And that is a big problem. That really is something that you would never expect somebody in the professional world to do, especially in the film industry, but if it's Kathleen Kennedy, she feels that she does not need permission from what it seems. Now, that brings us to Bob Iger. Now, Bob Iger, alright, whenever you see this guy talk, or whenever you watch him, on stage, he's a very, kind of like a monotone guy when he talks, right? He's not really all that enthusiastic, it seems, when it comes to the franchises that he's involved in, like Star Wars and Marvel, etc. And so, he's really trying to uplift the fans. And this is the biggest tease out of all when it comes to really saying that they are seeking new leadership in order to ensure that they can have a successful future with this brand, like he said, that's over 40 years old, which is true. It's crazy how long Star Wars has been with us. And Bob Iger is making an effort. I don't care if it's out of desperation or damage control. Whatever gets Kathleen Kennedy out of there, I think is perfectly fine with me. This is the greatest tease that we have gotten yet, the greatest hint that we have gotten yet by Bob Iger, and the fact that they meet up every single week with the board about these plans and these strategies that they're actually mapping out right now, it goes to show you that they are just scrambling to get her out as soon as possible, and they want her out by August. That's what they want. And so they're providing her this severance deal, which I think is just absolutely crazy. This golden parachute, really not deserved, in my opinion. I don't think Kathleen Kennedy deserves that, but that's just me. But moving on to what Bob Iger also had to say is a little bit even more surprising, so let's tap into this. So it is something, he says, we talk about every single day in order to actually bring the franchise into a better place. And I am here to say that we are working on it and taking this very seriously. We think fans are going to be very pleased with the announcements that we have made ready for this summer, and it's going to absolutely brighten up everyone's day. In this industry, certain leaderships outgrow the audience, and that's when it's time we need to evolve and adapt to something new to provide fresh and engaging shows and films for this well-cherished franchise that is Star Wars. Now, the thing about this is that we know that Bob Iger wants Star Wars back in theaters. We know that he wants Star Wars to rely on repeat ticket sales again, because let's face it, that's when you really get the revenue. That's what really makes the money for Disney. It's not necessarily the Disney Plus subscriptions. The Disney Plus subscriptions, at least for Star Wars to them right now, is like a little side hustle. When you look at Marvel, they're really relying on Marvel right now. All these big blockbuster movies coming out, getting these repeat ticket sales, getting, of course, also Marvel shows on Disney Plus. But right now, Star Wars movies are stagnant, and Bob Iger wants to obtain that again and bring it to a Marvel-esque level. That's his plan. Now, about what I said before, that does not mean that these Star Wars shows are absolutely just, effortless or just very low quality made. I think that The Mandalorian is a well-produced franchise. I'm just saying it's not going to give Disney as much revenue, nowhere near as much as if it were a movie, where you're relying on repeat ticket sales, you're relying on ticket prices, and stuff around those lines. The only argument here is that a lot of people these days may not want to go to the movies as much. And Avatar and Top Gun Maverick kind of prove that people are still willing to go. It's just a matter of putting out a quality product. And I think that Ant-Man Quantumania is also going to be another prime example of dragging people back to the theaters. Anyways, with that being said, I think that Bob Iger is beginning to shape up a little bit, either out of desperation or damage control. I don't really care what it is. At least he's taking some kind of form of accountability on the past mistakes. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in on what you guys think about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.